From the OUTV Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, California, this is Brief News Brief, a brief look at today's trending news topics. Proudly combating the thought police since 2016, here's your host, James Heaney.
I'm James Heaney, and this is your Brief News Briefing. This morning, President Trump said that he has nothing to do with Russia helping him get elected, marking the first major gaffe where he publicly admitted that a foreign power attacked an American election in order to help get him elected. Now, he quickly walked it back, remembering his old tried and true defense that Russia interfered, but it was to help Hillary win. That's who they wanted to be president, even though Putin himself has said publicly that Trump was his preference in the election. What a mess. This all follows Mueller's strange and public remarks yesterday, where he decided to have a press conference just to use his own words to say out loud what he already put in the Mueller report. It was just a few weeks ago that the redacted Mueller report came out, but honestly, it's starting to feel like years ago. Mueller released his report. Barr completely distorted it and did his darnest to spin it in Trump's favor. And he's still the Attorney General. Congress is struggling day in and day out to see how to move forward with the results. Every day, it's starting to look more and more true that if Trump did shoot somebody on the street, he would literally just be able to walk away and get away with murder. Also, from what Mueller said yesterday, it sounds like even if there was evidence to a conspiracy with Russia, that even then, Mueller would be bound by some memo in the 70s that says a sitting president cannot be indicted. You can't be the president of the United States and defend yourself in a court at the same time, it turns out. Oh, hey, I have a solution for that. It's called President Forever. Then you never have to be tried for your crimes. Huh? So we have a sitting president who was under a 2-year special counsel investigation, and the results are, if we had confidence that the president clearly did not commit a crime, we would have said so. Basically, Trump didn't not do it. Did he did it? He didn't not do it conclusively. Mueller and his team have been frustrated by what they perceive as a lack of public understanding about this whole mess. Oh, you think so? Maybe it's because people thought a special prosecutor was supposed to, prosecute if there was a crime. Turns out, no. Prosecutors don't prosecute a president, and a president is not indicted for a crime. But this president conclusively didn't not do it. And if there was evidence to conclude that he did do it, well, you can't prosecute him anyway. Oh well, say hello to your didn't not do it, commit a crime president of the United States. We've talked a lot on Brief News Brief about the citizenship question being potentially added to the 2020 census, and the court battles and the political fallout that's followed. Well, today, just weeks before the Supreme Court is expected to rule on whether the Trump administration can add a citizenship question to the 2020 census, new jaw-dropping evidence has emerged. The evidence was found in the files of a prominent Republican redistricting strategist, Thomas Heffler, after his death late last August. Oh my gosh, I promised I wouldn't cry. I miss him so much. I just miss him. Pull yourself together. We're going to teach you a little bit about him. Turns out he was a big player in this whole census ordeal. What was his motive? It was just the kindest, cleanest motive of all. It was to create a structural electoral advantage for, in his own words, Republicans and non-Hispanic whites. Yikes! Furthermore, Trump administration officials purposely obscured Heffler's role in court proceedings. Heffler concluded in a 2015 study that adding a citizenship question to the 2020 census would, and here's another quote, clearly be a disadvantage to the Democrats. This was evidently how it was sold to the Trump administration. The evidence contradicts sworn testimony in court. Wilbur Ross and John Gore went on the stand in court under sworn testimony and outright denied that Heffler's plan even existed. They were all liars who wanted to use the system to hang on to their white power. What a disgrace. But time's running out. The Supreme Court is set to decide on the issue in just a few weeks. Arguments in this case ended in April. The conservative majority seem inclined to side with the Trump administration to add the question. The evidence discovered suggests that there was a long-standing plan to weaponize the census, to suppress minorities, whitewash democratic changes happening all over the country. Will anyone be held accountable for the lies and manipulation that are seeping their way into the justice system, all the way up to the Supreme Court? Lawmakers in New Hampshire voted today to abolish the death penalty. They did this by overriding a veto from the state's Republican governor, and they made it the 21st state to abandon capital punishment. New Hampshire was the last in New England to have the death penalty. The many months-long debate has been largely symbolic, since New Hampshire has neither had an active death penalty system nor any executions on the horizon. In fact, the last execution they carried out was in 1939. This new law changes the penalty for capital murder to life imprisonment without the possibility for parole, ending the possibility of a death sentence for such crimes. No ear for an ear in New Hampshire ever after. While the death penalty remains on the books in a majority of states, it's actively practiced in just a handful of them. The number of executions taking place annually has declined, as has the number of states seeking to carry out death sentences. Some states have continued to regularly carry out executions. This includes Texas, Florida, Alabama, and Georgia, although those seeking to do so have struggled to obtain the drugs necessary for lethal injections. Pharmaceutical firms have resisted having their products used in executions, leading to what effectively is a shortage. This has prompted lawmakers to debate or adopt other execution methods, such as the electric chair, nitrogen gas, or the tried and true firing squad. Death is brutal, however you package it. The debate over punishment by death rages on.